When people hear the words high-income household, they usually assume financial safety. They imagine big salaries, strong savings, and problems that don't really count as emergencies. And sometimes it is actually true. Let's not act like a $200 bill affects you the same when you have $50,000 in savings versus $1,000. But what some people don't often realize is that upper-income households do face problems as well. And a lot of them. And a lot of them are about wealth, positioning, and sudden shifts that can wipe out years of progress faster than most people could expect. The core difference with high-income financial emergencies is that they're rarely about paying for basics. Things like food, housing, and utilities are usually covered. The danger comes from complexity. High-income households often have layered finances, multiple income streams, investments, businesses, tax strategies, and lifestyle commitments. All of these with also long-term plans built on assumptions that things will keep working. So when something breaks, it doesn't just affect one area, but it ripples across everything. And because these households are often confident, leveraged, and optimized for growth, they can be surprisingly fragile when conditions change. Yes, debt exists, but it's usually strategic. For them, the risk is often intentional, and emergencies happen when those calculated risks move in the wrong direction all at once. What makes these situations stressful isn't immediate hardship, but it's the sudden realization that money doesn't automatically equal control, and that even large incomes can feel small when obligations, expectations, and long-term goals collide. Unexpected tax bills are one of the most common and shocking financial emergencies among high-income households, because taxes at this level are rarely simple. Income may come from bonuses, commissions, stock options, business profits, investments, or one-time events. And while tax planning exists, it often relies on projections. When income spikes unexpectedly, deductions phase out, laws change, or estimated payments fall short, the result can be a massive tax bill that arrives all at once. And these aren't small surprises. They can be up to 6 or even 7 figures in many cases. And unlike regular expenses, tax bills don't come with flexibility. They're due on a fixed schedule and penalties accrue quickly. And so paying them often requires liquidating assets and selling investments at bad times, or even draining cash reserves meant for other purposes. What makes this especially stressful is that the money often feels like it already belonged to someone else. It was earmarked for investing, lifestyle upgrades, or future plans. Suddenly, it's gone. And because high-income households are often confident in their financial sophistication, tax emergencies can feel embarrassing as well as destabilizing. They expose how fragile even advanced financial setups can be when assumptions meet reality. Now, investment losses become true financial emergencies for high-income households when they coincide with income disruption. On their own, market downturns are expected. High-income earners are often told to think long-term, to stay invested, and to ride out volatility. That works well until it doesn't. The real danger appears when portfolios decline at the same time a job is lost, a business slows down, or a major income source disappears. Suddenly, assets that were supposed to grow are being tapped for living expenses. Selling during a downturn locks in losses. Borrowing against investments becomes risky. And plans that were built on compound growth start unraveling fast. High-income households often concentrate wealth in markets, businesses, or real estate. That concentration amplifies both gains and losses. And because lifestyles are often scaled to expected returns, a sharp investment drop can force rapid adjustments. Vacations disappear. Private school tuition becomes questionable. Long-term plans feel uncertain. The emergency isn't about being broke. It's about realizing that wealth can shrink much faster than it was built, especially when income and markets fail together. Divorce is one of the most financially destructive emergencies for high-income households because it attacks wealth at the structural level. Assets that took decades to build suddenly have to be divided, sold, or restructured. The businesses get valued, the investments get split, and the real estate gets liquidated. All of that without accounting for the legal fees that pile up quickly. What makes divorce especially dangerous at higher income levels is their complexity. There are more accounts, more entities, more tax consequences, and more long-term implications. And to add to the fire, the cash flow often drops while the expenses increase. Lifestyle expectations can clash with new financial realities, and the emotional decisions can override rational planning. Even households that appear extremely wealthy can experience long-term financial damage from divorce, not because the money disappears, but because it gets fragmented. The emergency isn't just the cost, it's the permanent change in the financial trajectory. Retirement timelines can shift, the risk tolerance might changes, and rebuilding takes far longer than most people expect, even with a high income. Job loss becomes a unique financial emergency for high-income households when it collides with expensive, inflexible lifestyles. Many high earners work in industries that are volatile by nature. Finance, tech, sales, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and executive roles often come with high pay and high risk. When the job disappears, replacing that income isn't easy. Comparable roles are rare and competition is intense. Meanwhile, expenses don't adjust quickly. We're talking about the large homes, the luxury leases, the private education, the long-term contracts, or even the support staff. These costs were manageable when income was strong, but they become heavy fast when cash flow stops. Savings may exist, but they burn fast when your expenses are above average. And because identity is often tied to career success, job loss hits emotionally as well as financially. That often leads to decisions being rushed and assets that get sold under pressure. And what looked like a comfortable financial position can suddenly feel unstable. The emergency isn't about survival, it's about realizing that a high lifestyle requires constant income to sustain. One of the biggest misconceptions about high-income households is that money problems disappear once you earn enough. In reality, they evolve, and in some cases, they become worse. The question often shifts from wondering if you can pay your bills to wondering if you are positioned correctly. Wealth introduces complexity, risk, and responsibility, and decisions matter more, not less. Now, out of the sudden, tax planning matters, liquidity matters, lifestyle discipline matters, and long-term thinking becomes essential. High-income emergencies are often the result of assuming that money alone provides safety, while it often doesn't. Structure, margin, and flexibility often do. The households that protect wealth best aren't often the ones who earn the most. They're often the ones who manage money intentionally, stay adaptable, and plan for scenarios where things don't go as expected. You can think of it like the expression, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And that can apply at any income level. When people often are in financial situations where they're growing in terms of cash versus expenses or assets versus debts, it is more often than not one of the best moments to plan for when disaster will come. What is the plan if I lose my job? What is the plan if a new tax bill arrives? What is the plan if I divorce? Should I have a prenup before getting married? All questions to ask because these scenarios are common and sometimes unpredictable. Now, if this video helped you see high-income financial emergencies in a new way, click on one of the videos on your screen right now.